So, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I would like to welcome you all in this Hypertrace community call for July 2021. I'm Jayesh Highway. I work on building Hypertrace from quite some time now, and I work around product engineering, marketing, and all those aspects around it. And jumping to Hypertrace, Hypertrace is a cloud native distributed tracing platform, and Hypertrace provides you Hypertrace converts distributed traces into relevant insights for everyone. So infrastructure teams can identify which services are causing overhead, or application teams can find out which request put their service object to that risk. Or deployment teams can identify if the new version they are deploying is causing some issues in the system. Hypertrace currently accepts all the major data formats, and which means if you have distributed tracing already enabled, or if you are using Jaeger, Zipkin, or OpenTelemetry already, you're right out of the box work with Hypertrace as well. We created Hypertrace at Traceable and we open sourced it. And now the community is helping us to build to make it a best observability platform out there. So agenda for today will involve going over the current state of Hypertrace, then engineering updates, what's going on on the engineering side, demo of some new interesting feature, and then the roadmap. We will discuss a roadmap briefly, and then we will have some open questions around observability, Hypertrace, or tracing in general. Cool. Yes. So let me jump to the current feature set of Hypertrace and what we currently have. Out of the box, Hypertrace provides you a topology, which is a service diagram, and it's a scalable service flow you can use for various use cases. Then we provide pre-canned dashboards for services, APIs, and backends, which will give which any service owner, API owner, backend owner might need. Then we provide extensibility, so you can write your own trace enricher for your business use cases, and you can surface that information in the UI. It's interoperable, so it works out of the box with all the standard tracing formats like Jaeger, Zipkin, and OpenTelemetry, as we discussed. We support GraphQL APIs. So if you like all the data on the UI layer is exposed using GraphQL API. So if you want to play around with it, if you want to build a new use case, you can do that easily. We provide a very mature API and trace analytics with Explorer, and that Explorer is basically backed by Pinot at this point. Span logs, this is something we added recently. So you can send span logs along with your trace data, and we will correlate those and show them in a context in the UI. So if any of your service is breaking, or if any of your request is causing some error, you can actually go to logs and see what problem has occurred. Then we provide error analytics. So we will highlight errors in the platform or errors in the trace as well as waterfall view. So you can find the error spans easily and then look into logs for the issues. The new feature, an exciting feature this month, we have introduced alerting, and it's available now. The release will happen in a couple of days, but everything has been merged and it's available now generally. And now in the first iteration we release, you can alert on any out of the box metrics available like call rate, error rate, and uh, latency. And it automatically identifies an anomaly and sends the alert on the Slack. But in the we will discuss about what is coming up in the next phases while we discuss the roadmap part. So yep, discussing about compatibility and infrastructure, we support deployment on any container native environment right now. So if you want to deploy on Docker, you can use the Docker Compose and do that. If you, it's a quick start way to get started with the things. Then there's Kubernetes deployment available, and the Helm charts you can use for deploying on ECS, EKS, GKE, AKS, any other container native for native platform in general. Then compatibility, as I mentioned several times, it's compatible with Jaeger, Zipkin, and OpenTelemetry formats. If you are already instrumented with any of those agents, you can work out of the box with Hypertrace. Then for the modules, like we currently have our own Java agent, Go agent, and Python agent available, out of which Python agent and Java agent also provide you auto instrumentation. And all of these agents work on are based on OpenTelemetry. So even if you use OpenTelemetry agents, that's fine. But if you want some additional functionality, we recommend to use our own agents as well. Then I will hand it over to Rishabh for engineering update, and then uh, we'll proceed with the demos.
Hey, Jayesh, can you enable screen share for participants?
Yes, just a moment. Just a
Not yet.
Done.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you guys can see my screen. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, as Jayesh said, we are done with alerting phase 1 and the changes are available. So let me talk briefly about it. Yeah. So currently we support 3 out-of-box metrics in the Hypertrace platform. It's call rate, error rate, and latency. We derive these metrics from the tracing data that we ingest. That's the only source of data as of now in the Hypertrace platform. So we have provided a functionality to alert you when, to provide, first of all, a rule that you can use to configure, select any of these metrics, specify a threshold, and then expect alert on Slack as of now, or any webhook. So I will talk about the rules and other details in the next demo that we'll have after this. Before that, let me jump to the next point, which is matrix. So we are currently in the process of designing and making Hypertrace support ingesting application matrix. So, I mean, there's this saying that if you want to improve something, you first have to learn to measure it. So metrics are, serve that purpose for the performance of systems. So as a platform, currently we just ingest tracing data. The goal here is to, with this feature, ingest the metric data as well. And with the matrix, the first thing that we'll be trying to solve is alerting on matrix, custom alerting on matrix, then correlation of the tracing data and metric data. And that will make Hypertrace, sort of this one-stop platform where you have multiple performance indicator signals coming in at one place. And this would open up a lot of use cases that will be solved for the customers. So yeah, watch out for this feature. And apart from this, some optimizations went into the platform. So one of the things was that earlier we, whenever custom tags were sent in the tracing data, we used to classify. We had a data model earlier, wherein we used to take the tags and classify them as being belonging to a SQL span or an HTTP span, and do all sorts of classification. So that sort of posed some problems in extensibility and maintenance. So we sort of ditched that model and moved to the bag of words model, wherein everything still remains in a bag, and we do whatever processing we have to do, we do it at read time. So that's one of the big migration tasks that has gone into the platform. So coming to the demo, I'm going to show the alerting feature now. So as already discussed, alerting, we support alerting with 3 out-of-box metrics. Okay, before I jump into the details of the alerting, let me just bring up the system because it will take some delay for the signal to come. So let me just do that. So this is Hypertrace running in one terminal, and this is a sample application called Hotrod running in another system. And this is my Hypertrace dashboard. Currently, there is no load. So let me generate some load. Okay, why I'm clicking it these many times, I will tell you shortly. Yeah, I hope this will be enough for the alert to be generated. I'm not taking any chances. Okay. So coming to the alerting design, let me go into the repository. Okay. So the alerting pipeline composes of 3 services as of now. So we have 2 offerings for alerting. One of them is a scalable model and other is a concise model. When if you don't have a lot of rules, then you can start with this. This is called a all-in-one alerting engine. And another is a pipeline, streaming pipeline. So the streaming pipeline basically allows you to, this is called the metric anomaly task manager. It will allow you to create some rules. Okay. Coming to the format of the rules. Yeah. So this is the definition of a rule, basically. So there are some event details and which will help you identify that, okay, this was the rule that you got an alert for. You have to provide a channel ID. This should be matching with the notification channel that you create. Let's say you create a Slack channel. Then this is the most important part. This is how metrics are understood in the Hypertrace platform. So basically, I'm trying to create here a alert on the duration metric of service entity. So Hypertrace has this concept of entity model. Everything is an entity. It may be a service entity or an API entity. So here I'm trying to, so all these metrics are in one scope, right? So I'm trying to create a alert on the duration of a service entity. So as of now, what we are offering is just looking at the last 1 minute of data. So last 1 minute of data, you can aggregate it into different buckets. So I'm having a 15-second bucket. So you could choose a 60-minute bucket. So then all the metrics will be combined together. All the data points that were seen by the platform in that minute will be combined together and summed up. But with a 15-second bucket, you will expect 4 buckets and metrics to be summed up in a 15-second window. So this is the filter. This is like the rule that you want to create. So basically how a particular metric will be identified in the platform. There could be multiple metrics for the service, right? So it could apply to multiple entities. So here I'm specifying that the service ID should be equal to this number. So this will help you say put the alert on some specific service. This is the threshold. So currently we are providing a static threshold. So this is the value that the matrix should exceed. So this is all about the rule part. Then we have the this rule part will basically create a message on a Kafka topic, and which will be up for consumption by the actual detector, which is the one which will do this evaluation part by querying the data from Pinot. And then lastly, we have this notification service, which is going to send out the notification on whatever destination you have chosen. So for example, this could be a Slack message. So yeah, and we have also combined this all together and that we put out in our Docker Compose setup, all in one alerting. So let's see now the state of our rule. So this is the topology. So by the way, I have created a rule on the customer service. These are the metrics. And if I say for 15 minutes, $17.7. Okay, my threshold was 5. All these are greater than 5. So I would expect a notification. Yeah. So if you see, this was 8:47 p.m. So it says Hypertrace detected an violation event. It says 3 out of 3 metric data points were greater than the threshold 5.0. Okay. And this is the event ID that was configured in the rule. So the violation timestamp and event timestamp differs in that this is when the metric data, this is basically the timestamp of which the metric data was polled. And this is when the destination received the message. So that's the difference here. So if you see, it says 3 out of 3 metric data points, and that's what we see here, 3 out of 3. And if you see, this is for the 8:44 p.m. minute on the hover, and this is the same duration. So this is the ending timestamp. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, that's all, from alerting, and a lot of enhancements and additions will be added soon.
Cool. Thanks, Rishabh. That was very helpful. And yes, as you said, like we are planning a lot of enhancements and addition on the metrics side in coming weeks and months. So the next one, I will hand it over to Subin, who is from Razorpay, and Razorpay has been using Hypertrace from quite some time now. It's almost, it will be year in October, right, Subin? So he will tell you the story and how they are using Hypertrace, why they are using Hypertrace, and what different problems it's solving for them. So over to you, Subin.
Thank you, Jayesh. Can I share my screen? Jayesh, you're on mute. Okay,
Yep, you can share your screen. You have the permission.
Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay,
Yes.
so let me introduce myself. I'm Subin. I work as a staff engineer at Razorpay, mostly on observability and observability. So, so we are using Hypertrace on production for last 8 months, and we'll be here like to share our experience using Hypertrace. So we'll be sharing our challenges. The context here is most of our services deployed on production in microservice architecture, and also the challenges which you are facing mostly in the context of debugging production instance. Okay, so every incident starts with an alert, which is acknowledged by DevOps engineer or on-call engineers. These developers might not know all visibility to all the services. So understanding the dependent service is very important, because that's the first step where we need to figure out the failure point, which service is causing the issue. The second challenge is finding the hotspot. So we use Grafana and Grafana Prometheus Sumo logic stack for debugging issues. So in microservices world, one request can go from 3 services, minimum 3 or 4 services. So in order to answer where we have to correlate multiple dashboards, Grafana dashboards. That created multiple context switches and increased cognitive load on developers. Also, currently, if the failure point is on database, then we might be interested in the queries running on database. What are the slow queries, which is taking too much time? So we used to log slow queries to our logging system and search from there. And also we log these slow queries very reactively. And in some cases we have to depend on DBAs to get slow query logs. So this is also creating so while debugging incident, we need to fix and detect the issue very fast. So this is increasing our mean time to detect the issue. And also log fatigue. So one request can go to maybe 4 or 5 services, and that will create a number of logs. So what we used to do previously is we pull all the logs for the request ID and sequentially go through all logs and see why the issue is happening. It's hard to correlate because of sheer amount of logs. So now I will share how we have used Hypertrace to solve these issues. The old way to understand dependent services while debugging edition, we need to check with the service owner to know the dependencies or dive into the code. The new way using Hypertrace, this is very easy. Hypertrace automatically creates application graph from the traces, and also it will show the connected metrics. For example, what is the P90 latency from front end to recommendation service, and also the red mark indicates the service is creating errors greater than 5%. This is very helpful to figure out where the issue is happening in a quick time. The second is finding hotspot. So Hypertrace neatly provide a trace graph which clearly show all the life cycle, the entire life cycle of the request. So we'll be able to figure out where there is happening, how much, which leg is taking too much time. So that will be clearly understood from the trace graph. And also, as I mentioned before, previously we are pulling all the logs for a particular request. So from the trace graph, we can figure out this span is creating issue, this query is creating issue, or this HTTP call is creating issue. So we can take the span ID and then search the logs for that particular span. So this is reducing to navigate from hundreds of logs to few number of log lines. And the debugging slow queries. So here Hypertrace automatically create a dashboard for database to see the slow queries. We can sort the queries based on duration, start time, and latency. So this reduces our dependency on database or manual creation of dashboards. So right till now we are very happy with the Hypertrace features, and we are extensively using Hypertrace in debugging production incidents. And we are in love with Hypertrace. A couple of developers are we have very good feedback about Hypertrace. And also we are excited about the upcoming features like alerting, infrastructure metrics, application metrics. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Subin. And really, we also learned a lot from you folks during this journey, and we really appreciate you giving continuous feedback and helping us improve as well on the same lines.
Thank you. Looking forward to work with you in future also. Yeah.
Looking at the roadmap, and let's see like what different features we have in plan and what we are building over a couple of months, or mostly this next quarter and the quarter after that. So the one important thing we have in our bucket is alerting phase 2, and alerting phase 2 will be very extensive, and it will have it will help you alert on any kind of custom metric. So if you can create any query on via Explorer and alert on that. Apart from that, during that time, parallelly, we will be also working on adding application metrics and infrastructure metrics in the platform. So alerting on those metrics will be supported as well. Apart from that, alert with the custom baselining is one of the important things we want to add to the alerting engine. Then, as I discussed briefly, we have logs in our platform. Now we support ingestion of span logs, and we correlate those span logs to traces and spans at this point. But we also want to support extensive log search via Explorer, and that feature will be coming in next month as well. Then as I said, just for application metrics and infrastructure metrics is one of the important things we have picked up. So initially, we are supporting the ingestion via OpenTelemetry API just for application metrics. And then we will also support third-party ingestion from third-party metrics, so like Prometheus or Victoria metrics as well, specifically for infrastructure metrics. And the next phase for the metrics will be supporting ingestion of metrics from cloud vendors as well as any other metrics platform. Then we have a SaaS offering coming up in next 6 months, and we are working towards that as well. So you will get a free tier premium SaaS model available, where you can just use that, and if you have a very small size company, you can use that, and that will still solve your problem. The sampling is one of the things which we will be addressing along with the metrics. So we will support a platform level sampling, and you can just send all of your data. We will do the smart sampling thing and ingest the data required and retain whatever data we feel is necessary, and even giving you full control on the retention side of things. So yep, those are kind of things we are working towards in next couple of months. If you have any questions around those, if you want to discuss around those things, if you want to know more about any of the feature we are building, we have GitHub issues there. You can post a question on a GitHub discussion or our Slack channel, and then we will be happy to discuss about that. So I'm opening it up for a question. If you have any question for our team or even for Subin, just shoot those and we will be happy to answer those.
Hey Jayesh, Mohammed.
Hey Mohammed, hi. Good to see you here.
Yeah. So yeah, one question I had is related to data retention. Like data gets built up, so I want to purge it after 30 days. So is there any feature like that?
So currently we have a retention period which is configurable via Helm charts. Vishab, can you give more context on that part, please?
Yeah, right. So currently the data that we have in Pinot is basically there is a configuration that it will retain the data only up to a particular period. And also, there are Pinot minions which are there for helping you delete some specific data. If you want a longer retention and want to basically do stuff around deleting specific data or something like that. And in general, you could also, back up this data as you want using basically any custom tools.
So Pinot supports the retention, it supports backup in the deep store as well. So you can basically back your data in the S3 or something, and before deleting it or before your retention period or something like that. So you can also even use that facility and retain your, like suppose if you just want to retain your data in Pinot for 15 days and you still want the data to be there for some other purpose for 30 days. After 15 days, you can store it in deep store like S3 and you can still have access to it. But in Pinot, it can stay for 15 days if you want. So retention period, as Rishabh said, completely configurable via Helm charts. And yes.
And then the fact that Traceable, which is built on the Hypertrace platform, is using all of these in production, like for multiple customers. So yeah, that's totally doable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So my next question will be to Subin. Hey, Subin.
Hi.
Yeah. So like Jayesh specified, like you are having 50K spans per minute or per second. So like what is your cluster size and scalability? How does the Hypertrace scale, and what is the cluster size that you are handling?
Cluster size means
Kubernetes.
I can explain the ingestion. So whenever the number of spans increases, we are facing a load on ingestion components. So right now we are at ingesting around 60K spans per second. So our cluster is around every single ingestion components we have this. It's on HPA, it's on the pod auto scaling. The mean from 6 to 10 replicas right now.
Okay, so and the cluster size that you have, Kubernetes cluster?
I don't understand the cluster size. What do you mean by
Kubernetes cluster? You are running this on like how you are running.
If I can answer that, it's around 16 nodes.
Okay, number of nodes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Mohammed, and hope we answered your questions.
Yeah. So I have.
Yeah.
So I had
yes,
one question around alerting. So there is a component in alerting which is evaluating the rules, and is it hitting GraphQL service to get the data?
No, it is hitting query service to which then hits Pinot to get the metadata.
And this alert service, which is evaluating this rule, right? What is how is it is deployed? Will it be a replica set, or like what is the HA strategy on that?
So basically, if you go with the all-in-one Hypertrace alert engine deployment, that basically I would suggest to deploy it like a single piece and to start trying out that where therein you will be able to specify all the rules in one pod and use a big size node and run that service like as a standalone thing, like Pinot's Third Eye or something. And and if you want to okay, just one second. If you want to then say move to a more scalable version, a alerting pipeline, then you go with this 3-component deployment, wherein the first component, which is the part which will deal with producing the alert rules, that could be like a single node or a 2-node deployment, because that's pretty lightweight. Then the core component, the metric anomaly detector, which is doing the heavy lifting of querying Pinot and getting all the data, that's horizontally scalable because it consumes the message from Kafka. So then you can scale it up to the number of partitions that you have set on your Kafka topic. And then the notification sender after that, again, could be like a very less number of deployments to start with, probably 1, because that's just, sending out notifications on a webhook. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a question. So I saw the highlighting demo, but I couldn't see a link to the respective trace or dashboard in the alert. So is it part of
Yeah,
version
right.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, so actually that's not part of version 1. That's part of the enhancement that we'll be working on. Because then we will be like presenting on the UI also with appropriate markers, suggesting that, okay, this was a violation. So, yeah.
Okay. So currently the plan, Subin, was basically creating the pipeline first and then building components around it, building features around it. So now that we have a scalable pipeline in place, we can basically do the enhancements around it. Like now the hard work is done. So the UI part, we will start working together in August, and we will build up the UX, and then we will eventually you will be able to click on the alert, go to metric, click on that metric, go to trace. So that workflow, that user workflows will be there in the coming months.
Yeah, and add to that, like eventually you will also have a dedicated dashboard, on seeing listing alerts,
yes.
And you could play around, query it like any Explorer query, all of that.
The incident management part will be there. Everything will come together.
And yeah, it's also for the community to contribute, like help us build all this. The core infra thing is there. So we'll need help from all of you also to build it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yep, if you want to learn more about Hypertrace, want to read more, I listed down a few resources here, and I will also share the slides across on the Hypertrace Slack maybe. So you can go through those. And we also have a podcast where we discuss observability. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to the link and you can learn about it. We have a blog, we have a dev.to page as well. You can learn more about Hypertrace and read things around observability there. Cool. So thank you all for joining, and thanks Subin for giving your time to tell us a story about how Razorpay is using Hypertrace, and thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. Have a great day.